Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is Integrated ALM Automation Beyond a Single Vendor Toolset. Our guest speakers today are Mr. Puranjoy Chatterjee, Director-Projects at Kovair Software, and Mr. Soumanil Chowdhury, Manager Sales Engineering at Kovair Software. Mr. Puranjoy has been associated with Kovair for more than 13 years and heads the engineering team for integration framework. He is responsible for solution design, development, and delivery for major customers in omnibus integrations. Mr. Soumanil has been associated with Kovair for more than 7 years, being involved in defining and developing solutions for Kovair customers. His main focus is to provide on-site and offshore consulting services for complete ALM and omnibus integration solution implementation and managing projects for Kovair products for the customers. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Mr. Puranjoy.
Good evening, everyone. I am Puranjoy Chatterjee, and I will be starting with the presentation. So today we will be presenting the topic Integrated ALM Automation Beyond the Single Vendor Toolset. With me I have Soumanil, whom just now we got an introduction for. So we'll start with the presentation right away. Today's agenda, we will be covering certain topics. First of all, why integrate ALM tools, then how to integrate ALM tools, then features to look for in an integration solution. A real-life scenario will be shown where different tools are being used in an ALM, and then it will be followed by a product demonstration by Soumanil, where we'll be showing a use case which we had configured for one of our customers. Firstly, why integrate? The first thing that we get out of integration is we get to see the data from across the tools. So in our entire ALM scenario, multiple tools are being used in multiple silos. So for requirements management, we have different tools. For test management, we have different tools. We have other set of tools for the development and maybe another for reporting. So it's important to see the data across all these tools. Whoever is working on test management should be able to know if some data is changing in the requirements management tool. Next is the traceability between objects in different tools. So change management and impact analysis, if one artifact changes in one of the tools, the other tools should get synchronized. The users of the other tools, they should get notified that this particular item changed, and because of that, it has an impact on the items that I am working on. So that is achieved by the traceability. Another important thing that integration brings to the table is process automation across tools. What this means is that we may sometimes have some process or workflow done within a particular tool, but that workflow does not span across that tool to other tools. This means that whatever is happening within that tool may still be controlled by a workflow, but it cannot be used to control other tools, users of other tools. So an integration scenario or integrated ALM should be able to enforce certain processes or workflows which span across different tools. This also helps us to do some governance across distributed teams. Next, we get dashboards and reports with consolidated data from the tools. Meaning a typical scenario, if a project manager asks for some consolidated reports which needs data from the dev team, from the test team, then somebody will have to get busy. Somebody will have to ask for data from the different dev tools and from the testing tools, sit down, put this data in Excel and create some consolidated metrics and then come back to the project manager. So all this thing probably takes a few hours. And also, as and when the data is being shown, it might already be obsolete. There may be changes happening within those source tools which are no longer synchronized with this Excel. And finally, it improves the integrated ALM improves velocity of the entire project team. So if we can reduce 4 or 5 hours of work, of manual work, from this kind of a report generating scenario, then you can imagine what happens if this entire ALM scenario is integrated and nobody is wasting any time to get data from other tools. So real-time synchronization of changes in artifacts, this helps us reduce a lot of time, and the entire velocity of the project team is impacted by this. Next, we come to the benefits of integration. First, we get greater insight. We get to see what is the quality of the current release that we are working on, which part is not yet stable, what corrective actions are needed. So these kind of matrices are available. Next, we get to enact the best practice processes. So how do we ensure that your corporate methodology and processes are adopted across your organization to the application development lifecycle stages? So an integrated ALM is a good way of ensuring that the processes are being followed across all the teams which are related to this project. Then it helps us to overcome challenges for globally distributed development. So typically nowadays, some team is in India, some more people are working from probably US or Australia and maybe China. So how do you synchronize these people? They are working on different time zones. There are a lot of phone calls and emails typically fly around to get these people to work on a particular artifact. But that can be easily achieved using an integrated ALM scenario. Then it enables collaboration between different stakeholders. So how do I see my task or work items from within my tool? If I have to go and open up another tool to see what task I should work on today, so that's not good usage. Typically, if I'm a developer, I should get to see my task within my IDE. And when I check in my code files from the IDE, I should be able to associate it with the particular work item I'm working on. So instead of hopping around in multiple applications, and sometimes it can be expensive, you need to have the licenses for those applications also. So it's much better and faster if we get to do everything from the same IDE that I work on. So that's also highlighted in the last point, that it increases the productivity and helps us to deliver faster. So across all the teams, all the silos are broken and everything gets synchronized real time. People get to work on latest artifacts and not on obsolete items. Finally, this brings about a lot of customer satisfaction. We can actually deliver products with a better quality and on time, and maybe even before time. A lot of rework is no longer required. So that is one of the biggest advantages of having an integrated ALM scenario. You don't need to do, you can avoid a lot of rework. So for example, if a requirement that got changed and the testers or the test management team did not get notified about that in time, then probably 5 or 6 testers have been busy creating test cases on that particular requirement, and then they finally get to know, even if say they get it 1 day later, so you can well imagine 8 hours into 5 testers, so we have already lost 40 hours of productive time. So that kind of time we can save, we can improve on the quality, we can build on things which are relevant and not work on any obsolete items. Any amount of rework actually reduces the motivation of the developers, testers, and it should be avoided at any cost, and it also helps us to improve the quality. Then we can collect actionable metrics and intelligence which can help us to reduce the rework percentage, to make intelligent decisions on the fly. So if we get all the information at the click of a button from across all the tools, then we can take faster decisions. Whereas if I have to wait for 4 or 5 hours to get this particular information, then it's not very actionable, and it's already delayed the entire process. Then we can manage change with confidence. So change is something that is always happening, and as everybody says nowadays, that change is the only constant thing. So this kind of changes, whenever it's happening at any of the artifacts which are related to the lifecycle management, that change should immediately get reflected to all the other related items, and all the teams working on those items should get notified that we are working on a thing that is not up to date. So we should refresh our tools and get to see the latest item and work on that. Another important thing is plug and play of tools. So we keep hearing this kind of scenario that, okay, we were using that particular tool for development, now this project is new and we have to use this particular IDE which is mandated by the customer or whatever. So tools keep changing, but the roles they are playing, so the IDE was being used for development, now another IDE has replaced it. We have to have an integration system which can accommodate this, which can accommodate the new tool.